And you can't even escape Fleabag in the house you're in, can you? Because from series 1, the wall of penises, that's in your house.
It is in my house, yes. They're all here, keeping me company.
Are they close at hand? Can we have a look?
They are. They're actually stored here while they're waiting to go into the office. Because I'm meant to be moving into my office, whenever lockdown is over, and I'm hoping it will eventually become a hat stand or something adorable like that. But this is who welcomes people when they come to the door. I mean, I honestly don't know what's happened to that one. Can you see? Anyway, so it's been here, and a couple of months ago, and my sister and I live here, and when we put it there first, we were like it would be temporary, and then when you just put something down in your house, and then you don't think about it for ages, and then it just becomes invisible to you, and you forget that you have 12 massive penises at your front door. And this delivery guy came a few months ago and opened the door, and I just completely forgot. He kind of had to bring something in, and he was knocking against the cocks as he was coming in, and he was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, and I suddenly saw them again for the first time in ages, and I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. And he just looked me dead in the eye, and he went, it's art, never apologize for art. That was such a cool move from him.
And I like the way people are finding different things to do in lockdown. Home fitness, meditation. You've gone the booze route. Is that true?
Maybe, yes. Yes, cocktails in the afternoon.
Do you post your mixology every day, or just when the mood takes you?
No, just when I'm not too drunk to work my phone is when I do it. No, we're just sort of doing it periodically, every week or so, something like that.
Well, people are loving them. We've got some tweets here. Who knew Stanley Tucci making a Negroni was my kink? Here's somebody else. I want Stanley Tucci to manhandle me the way he slams down his cocktail ingredients. And
I know, and that was my agent. No, I'm kidding.
And even Chris Evans posted this. I love Stanley Tucci. On most days after we finished filming on the first Captain America movie, Stanley would make us martinis in his trailer. Would you do that every day, the martinis?
Yeah. I always have I like to have a portable cocktail set that I bring to set, and at the end of the day, if it's the appropriate time, I make martinis for whoever would like to join me.
That is such a lovely thing.
Well, it's nice. It's civilized.
No, I mean, teaching them, trying to teach them, attempting that is the biggest challenge that I'm facing, these days. I don't know if anyone who has kids can relate to that, but I barely passed school myself, and now I'm expected to be a teacher and teach my children, math and so on, which is, by the way, evolved and changed even for an 8-year-old. I was texting with my daughter's teacher, and I was like, we didn't do it this way. And he's like, a lot's changed, So it's, we're in a good place. I've sort of decided that we're all going to come out of this, my family anyway, just a little bit dumber, a little bit behind, and just accept that. and due to my lack of teaching skills, that's the outcome. If it was a movie, on the other hand, I could, be a teacher in a movie. I could Goodwill Hunting my way through the process and be very impressive, but not in real life, unfortunately.
Hey, listen, whenever you're on the show, I always ask you about Thor's hammer, and you always say, oh, well, that's in my house in Australia. You're in your house in Australia. Do you have the hammer? Is it really there?
Oh, the hammer, you mean this one?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Very impressive.
I mean, half the time I don't even, I sort of forget where I put them. I don't really have them that close to me, and so it's, I've got Stormbreaker just happened to turn up here in the Avengers. This small object that just, they go everywhere with me, basically.
Weirdly now, during lockdown, you've featured in an awful lot of memes. I'm sure you know this. I'm sure you've seen them. This one became popular here when the government announced that they were planning to reopen the schools. When someone asks if I'll continue to homeschool after the lockdown.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No! No!
No.
No!
And then this one, it sort of was after our Prime Minister here, Boris, was trying to explain the new rules in easing of lockdown, and it wasn't totally clear, and somebody noticed the resemblance to this. And Bruce Almighty was kind of your thing, wasn't it?
They continued. That was basically the first time I was ever in a movie. And the part they cut out is when Jim Carrey makes my nose start to bleed profusely, which they thought too mean of him to do as a character. And then my head bursts into flames. They had a like a gas line. It wasn't even a special effect, like a digital effect. It was a real live practical effect. They ran a gas line up, like down my back, and they put a coil on top of my head, and they like put gel on my head so it wouldn't burn. And they ignited this enormous, and it had to be like a 4-foot flame that I'm sure it's in some DVD extra somewhere.
Yes, it is. We found it. Here's a screen grab. I mean, that is your actual head on fire. That must have been terrifying.
Oh, yes, sure. That was the most terrifying thing ever because you could hear them venting the gas line before it happened. It kind of went whoosh, and then I knew it was going to go full-blown torch. And I could see the crew in front of me. They all lit up because the flame was so bright. Terrifying.
Yeah, it's really hard to relax and do improv when there's a gas hissing.
Well, my first movie, what was I going to say? I'm not going to do it? Of course, sure. Light me on fire. It sounds terrific.
One of the big hits of this whole pandemic, when the history is written, what did everyone do? Everyone apparently watched Tiger King. And Joe Exotic, you were there first.
I knew him before he was famous and spent really the best part of a week with him for a documentary I did in 2011 called America's Most Dangerous Pets. And he was back then as he is now. Well, now he's behind bars. Spoiler alert. You're supposed to say spoiler alert before the spoiler. Apologies. But, maybe they can re-edit that. But he was still running a zoo, and he had, I think, 150 tigers. And back then he also had 2 husbands, but they were one of the husbands was the same, and another of the husbands was a different husband. And if I have any regrets, it's that I didn't talk to him more about that. The only thing he said about that at the time was that it was along the lines of, well, as far as love making, he didn't use the term love making. He said something like, well, when we're going to get it on, it's either all of us involved or it doesn't happen. Like he basically had a rules of engagement for 3-person lovemaking.
Wow.
Another one of my first earlier American films was a film called Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway and the great Julie Andrews, and that's the one.
And you played a vice principal.
Yes, I played. I went through, with actors, you can go through seasons of things. I played at one point from the mid to the late 90s, all I played were detectives. And then I got a lot of teachers. And then I moved into doctors, but like a lot. And then I moved into a lot of people were wanting me to play like psychiatrists and therapists. And then I would have to be very, very judicious of how many doctors I would play. But yes, this was the character of a vice principal.
And there's a line people like you saying from that movie.
And I haven't seen it since, but I remember it. This is a phone.
Okay. Mime, very good.
This is a fine, very good mime. Theater school. The Queen is coming. I think that's the one.
Beautiful. It moved me. I've got goosebumps. And Chris, is Captain America definitely done?
Yeah, I think it's done. I mean, it was a great run, and we went out on such a high note. I mean, what are the chances to have a character span that long a time with that much of a web of stories land on its feet in the final chapter, and to go out on that note, it would be risky to revisit, in my opinion. And like I said, it was just such a good experience. I think it's better just to be left that way.
Oh, but very quickly, I have to say, another movie we loved you in was, of course, Knives Out.
Oh, right.
That movie, I mean, it just went gangbusters, didn't it, that movie?
Yeah, it did. Well, I mean, people love a good murder mystery, and it's one of those genres that I don't think has been explored as much as maybe some other genres in film. So I think people were really excited about having one done really well.
And as well as the plot, you know, people loved the plot of Knives Out, they loved the characters, but they also loved the cable knit sweater.
Yeah, they did. Who doesn't love a cable net? That's my favorite thing about living in Massachusetts. You get a good 6-month window where a cable net works.
But no, people went mad for it. It turned into headline news. Everyone's going nuts over Chris Evans' Knives Out sweater. Chris Evans' as a sweater is getting people hot and bothered over knitwear. And like Esquire, here's how you can get Chris Evans' sweater from Knives Out. Presumably, you go to a shop. You know, it's not rocket science.
Well, that's my goal in my career, to try and let some sort of prop or inanimate object do the heavy lifting for me, and then take all the credit.
And presumably, you can never wear one again.
You know, I do get a little bit of side eyes when I wear one now. It's a little bit of like, oh, yeah, he's wearing a cable, you know. But I figure a couple years, I can't stay away.
But someone in your family can wear one. How beautiful does Dodger look?
Oh, he hated it. He hated it. And he looked so good in it. But he was, that look is a look of disgust.
I think the thing he doesn't like is no sleeves. I think he feels emasculated.
A cable knit vest doesn't quite have the same appeal, does it?
No.